everyone, it's Aaron of Geller Woodworking, and today I want to show you some of the tools I have found very useful, some even game-changing over the past year. So we're going to move from this direction to here, and I am putting in chapters, so if you want to kind of skip around a little bit, you can do that. So I got this router last year. It was on sale for $200, came with these two bits, and I love Festool, but they don't make anything that it's anything like this, nothing battery powered yet. And what's really nice about this is how easy it is to adjust it. So I can do this very quickly, or what I like is how with this little dial right here, I can move it in 1/64th increments. So lots of power. Dust collection works all right when you have it hooked up. Not as good as a Festool, but it does work really well, and it's very comfortable to hold. Overall, I really enjoy this. I think it's worth picking up, especially on a deal. Now, tape measures, maybe you guys have seen these, but it's a couple that I don't see people talk about very often. So this is called the flat back. What's nice about the flat back is, typically, this is, it's kind of round on the edges, so it doesn't lay flat on the table or the surface you're working on. With the flat back, it does actually lay flat. So much easier to mark up on the material. Another thing too is you've got the pencil sharpener. You can write on here. They're like $7 or $8, so they're really not expensive and they're a great purchase. One thing I do want to note is, unlike this one where you have this part that moves, because this one's a little different. It actually is stationary, so it won't move. So it's not good for getting interior measurement. So that is a little difference there. Now, speaking of marking up, I use 3 different Pica pens, or pencils rather. So this is the 0.9. I really enjoy using this. And then I have 2 versions of this one right here. The black version, and then I got like a multicolor kit, so I use the white one for marking up walnut. But when you need finer detail, the 0.9 is great. Also, because they're this kind of Festool green, it's kind of hard to lose them because, you have the green sheath there. A little cough going on. So, let's actually look at this one here. So this is a marking knife. I got one because I saw Jonathan Cat Moses using one, and I really do find there's a lot of advantages with it. With the pencil lead, it's hard to get right up close to an edge, where this you can get exactly to the edge, and it's a flat back, so you are right up against it, and then you can actually feel the ridge that it makes. So I think I spent like 10, 15 bucks on this, and these are like $20. Not cheap, but they do last for a long time. Now this right here is made by Woodpeckers, and it's actually really affordable. So it has several scales. It has what we call a center scale. So there's a 0 right here in the middle, and then it goes in each direction. So I love that, because when I'm trying to find the middle of material, this makes it really easy. I just line it up. So it's going to say 45 on each side. I've got my center point. You can also get, let's see here, it can also come with this right here. So if you want to have repeatability on an edge, you can do that. Now I have them as small as 6 inches up to, I think, 2 feet. The 6-inch and the 12-inch are the ones that I use the most. And I think for the whole set, it's like $120. So not cheap, but not overly expensive either. So with this right here, this is made by Woodpeckers, and they've been really stepping up their router bit game. Now, what I like about this Rabbeting bit is the fact that we have 3 carbide inserts, and that means that you can rotate them out when they get dull, and then you can replace them, I think, for like 15 bucks. Now, what's really cool is how big this bearing is. And I made a video, I can link to it. Most bearings are like half this size, so it's like 2 rings worth. And the thing is, you just pop, whoops, let me see here. You just swap them out with this right here. You just need to have a simple little Allen key, Allen wrench. Now for me, I actually made this little wooden piece. This will hold them all. But what is it? CMT makes one. The only problem I don't like about it is the bearing is smaller, and then it's really funky with changing out different bearings. Now what's nice with this here is I can actually see, okay, this is a 16th offset. So that's really nice. So before we talk about this one, I want to talk about these two and the differences. So if you just want to have a right angle, this works great. Now this is actually a TSO that is branded by Festool. I actually got this shipped from overseas. Really good price, works well. I mean, it's a right angle. Not a whole lot more to say about that. Now this right here is pretty interesting. Festool makes this. I think it's very similar in pricing. I believe it's $175. This is around $180, give or take, depending on the sales they have. Festool like never goes on sale, pretty much. So what makes this unique compared to this is, while we can obviously do 90 degrees, we can also change it to be up to 60 degrees. So we have a lot of variability there. These right here are dogs, so they can go underneath. Now, the reason why you might want to do that and how I've used it is I was helping my neighbor cut up a countertop, and it has like that curved profile. So the curve actually doesn't stop right here. So these two go right there, and then you can butt it up against the curved top, and now you have a referencing surface. What also is nice about this is the different clamping locations. So not only can you put a clamp that's in the track right over here, but you can also put it here and here. So it gives you a couple more clamping options. Now, when I combine it with the track, it's almost like I'm using a circular saw with a track, because I can, again, fasten down using either the track or this device. And instead of using a miter saw, I have used this outdoors. Now, let's talk about this TSO product. So like I mentioned, even though it says Festool, it actually says TSO right here. You can actually connect these two together, so they'll go like, let's see here. Well, you would take this part off, but this would actually go onto here. And where that is nice is this. Let's say that you have your pieces all squared up and you want to set it to a certain dimension. So let's say you have a piece that's this long and you want to make, I don't know, say 8-inch cuts. And what you can do is again, this is connected to the rail. You just go to 8 inches. And then, I don't know if you guys can see here or not, but there's this little piece right here. You can calibrate it to your track. And every time you make a cut, they're going to be 8 inches long. So this is both a parallel guide, but it also combines with the right angle guide. Now, Festool does make an extension for this, but I find it really impractical. It is heavy, and I think it has to be at least like a 15-inch cut. So that's not really helpful in my opinion. Now, finally, it's having a small track. This is the 800 millimeter. Which I think is like 28 or so inches. Thing is, when you have smaller pieces of work you're trying to cross cut, you don't want to have a 55-inch track. So this works really well when you're cross cutting pieces. Again, and I'll show you guys this too. By the way, you cannot use this with a Makita track. You can use it with a Triton, or you can use it with a Festool. But the problem is with the Makita tracks, there is a little lip right here, and it interferes with this. But let's just take this right here. Let's take this. Take a little more finagling to get this on. Nothing much, but it does take a little moment. Okay, awkward position. Okay, so there we go. We'll just kind of put this right here. So let's say, for example, you're cutting a 2x4. You can slide the 2x4 underneath here, and then you can clamp on in this way, or again, underneath. And then if you want to make different cuts on the 2x4, again, let's say you want to go for a 15-degree angle, the RD tents, you can do this. Let me see, I'm going to grab my 2x4 just so that I can show you guys this a little more clearly. Let me grab that real quick for you guys. Let's move this this out the way. I've already dropped that once. That was not fun. So let's put this right over here, and then you can see here what we can do is instead of having to clamp underneath here, we can clamp right here, and then we can get that cut at a 15-degree angle. And again, you can do whatever angle you want. So if we want to go, say, with a 45-degree angle, again, just set this right here. And again, I can put my clamp here and I can cut it off. So obviously I'd want to slide, you know, adjust the track accordingly. But you can see how if you're outside, you can actually still use your track saw in conjunction with this piece here to basically do what a miter saw is doing. And if it's clamped, you know, the track's not going to come flying off, or not flying off, but, you know, tilting, because that can happen too. So I find this it takes my track saw to the next level. And again, for $175, I think it's a great value. But again, when it comes to comparing this right here, you can't get those, you can't preset the length. So you're gonna measure each and every time. So that is kind of a downside, I suppose. But again, you have that flexibility. So all in all, I mean, there are more things I could recommend, but these were the ones that first came to my mind. I felt like were real game changers. If you have a track saw, I feel like these are a must. Again, depends on what you want to do. Both of these are very similarly priced. I would definitely pick up one of these tracks because it takes this and makes it so much more useful. And the one thing too is you can buy multiple stops, and then let's say, for example, you have a project where you need to have several cuts that are all going to be, you know, say you have one that needs to be 18 inches, one needs to be 12 inches, one needs to be 8 inches, then you can have 3 different stops and then go between them real quick. So depends on your workflow, but thank you for tuning in. I will try to add some links to these. Currently, I have no affiliate links because I don't make money that way. But if you guys have questions about any of these, please leave your comments below and I will get to each and every one of you. So again, thank you guys, and talk to you guys soon.